We work as career guides in Norway. Today we are going to show you a tool that we use extensively in our jobs as career guides.
So, on the agenda for the next half hour, we're going to present the tool and how we use it. We're going to say a little bit about the theoretical background. And lastly, we're going to give you a case description. So, we work in a company called Phoenix in Norway. And Phoenix is the largest company within the vocational rehabilitation market in Norway. Our main aim is to guide each person towards their individual career goal from the ages of 16 and up to 65. So we work with the whole group. Our specific methods are, amongst others, coaching, different assessment tools, including VIP 24 that we're going to present here today, internships, and the place and train methodology.
VIP 24 stands for Values, Interests and Preferences in a 24-hour perspective. This mapping tool separates from other similar career guiding tools because it takes into account what brings the user's energy level up in both work and private life, hence the battery symbol. The battery illustrates that you need to function according to your health factors so that your energy level will keep up. If you have a job or a school situation that you can't master, and if you have a bad lifestyle, for example, bad eating habits, exercising habits, you do excessive drinking or doing drugs, or you stay up all night and play video games, like some of the students do, your battery will become empty, as in lack of energy and motivation. We believe that work and private life and school situation affect each other.
So this is a research-based tool. As you can see on the board here, these are the main theories that the tool is developed from. All of these have contributed to the understanding of career guidance and vocational choice. So due to lack of time here today, for those of you who are interested to know more about the different theorists, please do some research on your own.
VIP 24 covers all the developmental phases of career guidance. It takes into account the theories of some of the earliest theorists like Holland and Jung that you see here, and Parsons and Donald Super. It also takes into account later developed theories, and it makes the tool available for everybody, since it is digitalized and has an e-learning platform for both users and instructors.
So, VIP 24 consists of 5 different parts. All these 5 parts are represented either as solar graphs, or you can choose them as human graphs. The visual representation of the result is an important aspect of the tool, especially for the students. As you can see on the top, well, to my right side, the interest profile is based on Holland's Rysek model, the 6 interest archetypes. There is also a youth version specifically directed towards pupils and students. AV in the middle there, it stands for abilities and values. This is a supporting tool for the interest profile, and it shows which abilities a person wants to use in a school or work situation, and how much of these abilities the person uses in today's situations. And the PP stands for the preference profile. This part describes who we are as a person and is used both for higher consciousness on what we need, but also gives more flexibility towards understanding other people and their needs. And the VIP 24 cycle, as you can see on the right there, this captures what a person needs in a school or work environment and the people there to thrive, grow and feel satisfied. And lastly, the lifestyle cycle. This part of the mapping tool describes factors that has an impact on us in our private lives and thus can also affect our work or school life.
I'm now going to go through the interest profile. And as I go along, you can try and place yourself according to the 6 different types we have here. Because these are the 6 archetypes that Holland discovered in his research when he looked at different occupational types. Remember that these describe only the general traits and strengths. On the top left-hand side, we have the yellow dimension. It's the realistic type, the doers. Typical for realistic types is that they are practical, handy, down to earth, and they like concrete results when they work. Typical realistic jobs are either, for example, electrician or carpenter. When we go down to the next one, the red category, I guess we will have a lot of you will recognize this. The investigative type, the thinkers. Thinkers have academic interests. They like reading, are curious, like to do research, and likes to understand how things are connected. Typical jobs for investigative types: teachers, doctors, scientists. The third one, the light blue on the bottom, is the creative, artistic type, the creators. Typical traits of artistic types is that they are creative, free-willed, original. They like to come up with new ideas. Typical jobs here could be performing artists, like we have seen here today, kindergarten teachers, designers, advertising agents. The pink one on the bottom is the social type, the helpers. And I guess a lot of you will recognize this type as well. Helpers, social types, like to help others in their job, like to give advice, like to establish harmony, and like to cooperate with others to solve tasks. Typical jobs here are nurses, career guides, social workers. The dark blue one is the enterprising type, also called persuaders. This type likes to be on the go, likes to motivate and lead others, take initiative, and they are often good at juggling many activities at the same time. Typical jobs here are leaders, salespersons, and entrepreneurs. And last but not least, on the top, the green one, the green dimension. This describes the conventional type, also called the organizers. It's always good to go on a trip with the organizers because they are so organized. They like structure, predictability, and are often loyal to established rules. And they like to create and function within systems. Typical jobs here could be accountant, secretary, economists. The interest profile is one of the key parts of the VIP tool. It gives concrete career advice according to your interests.
So, when the students have answered these questions, there are 240 in the interest profile, about which activities they would be motivated to do, what competencies they think they have, and which jobs or vocations they are interested in. The mapping tool generates a list of jobs that can match their interests and motivations. Each job on the list is interactive. If you click on one of the links, you will be connected to a large Norwegian database. So this is just for us, not for you yet. It contains over 6,000 different educations and 600 different occupations. If the student investigates this website, either alone or together with a counselor, they're bound to get some ideas of what type of work that can suit them. We have tried to figure this out, but we haven't been able to identify if you have something like this in Italy, but we would like to encourage you to find out if there is an Italian version of this website, because it's very helpful for the students in Norway.
The next part of the tool is the preference profile. There are 4 dimensions involved in our preferences. The pink one on the left-hand top side is the energy dimension. This says something about where we gather and direct our energy, and we divide it by the extrovert and the introvert type. So which one are you, do you think? The perceiving dimension, the orange one, tells us how we perceive information from the outside world. And here we divide it by sensing and intuitive type. The blue dimension is the judging, our judging dimension. This lets us know what and how we take decisions. And here we divide it by feeling and thinking type. And on the top, we have the green dimension, the lifestyle dimension. This is about our attitude towards the external world and how we live our lives on a day-to-day basis. And here we separate between the perceiving or judging type. Why do we need to understand this? Understanding the different preferences help us to understand ourselves in a career perspective. The aim is also here to achieve job match. And by comparing the interest profile, the one you saw before, with the preference profile, we can secure a solid base for a young person's career direction.
So here you see Antonovsky, picture him. He is one of the theories that the VIP 24 program is based upon, or inspired by. His theory regarding sense of coherence is at the base of seeing the individual in a 24-hour perspective. And the 3 different factors that he emphasized, they are comprehensibility, manageability, and meaningfulness. We understand this as that these are at the core of the understanding of a person's resilience, along with the understanding of salutogenesis, the origin of health, and why some people, regardless of major stressful situations and severe hardships, stay healthy while others do not.
And now we are going to flirt a little bit with you, since we are in Italy. Besides being a very good movie, we think that this film portrays a very good example of the use of sense of coherence, Antonovsky's theory, where the main character in the film uses all his resources through positive thinking, and by that creates a manageable, meaningful, and comprehensible situation in order to save his son. It's a great movie. Have you seen it? Of course.
So this is the VIP 24 cycle. This profile shows the possible gaps between what is important to you at work or school and the current situation. So the colored beams, yellow, orange, blue, or pink, show how much we value a factor. So for example, how much you value feedback in your work or school environment. And the dots, they represent how much you feel you have it today in your current situation, how much is in your life today in the situation you are. So, and it's divided into 4 categories. The yellow one is coping, and the next, the orange, is value creation, and the third, blue one, relations, and the fourth, the pink one, quality of life. So the aim here is to uncover a possible gap in the resources available, to ensure that the gap is filled and how the student can fill it. This in turn can provide an understanding of the resources needed to secure a job or education and what the student needs to focus on to achieve exactly that goal. And in the youth version of this, all the questions are aimed at specifically at the school environment.
And this is how a guiding session is organized. First, we send out the questionnaire on email to the student. The student answers the questionnaire. A certified coach goes through the results and profiles together with the student, and this takes approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. We then make a plan for the rest of the process according to the student's goal. And we try to make the plan as concrete as possible.
And now the case. This is Eirik, 21 years old. We met him when he was on sick leave after only 6 months as an employee for a large electrician company. Before this, he had been an apprentice for about 2 years. Before that, 2 years in school, where he was trained by, on this last 2 years as an apprentice, he was trained by a senior electrician on different kinds of jobs. Eirik was otherwise a very healthy young man, so there was seen from the outside no apparent reason why he should feel so down and sick and tired after a short period in a real job. After a coaching session, he filled out the profiles, and you can see the result of the interest profile on the left, and the support profile, abilities and values, on the right. He opened up about his father's expectations. He understood how those expectations made him go down a wrong career path, and never before had he reflected upon what he was interested in and how this reflected upon him as a person. He had become a handy and practical person because he was taught those things by his father when he was growing up, so he was quite good at them. But he was not particularly or genuinely interested in them.
Electrician is a typical practical occupation, and you can see that Eirik scores on both practical and social type. As you can see, Eirik scored higher in the pink category social type in the support profile than in the interest profile. Because here, he really had to think about what he needed and wanted in a job and how much he felt he had them fulfilled today. The dots indicate here that he has too little social interaction in his job as an electrician. The social type represented everything he craved. He wanted more of this, but he didn't have, and vice versa. In the realistic type, where the importance level was low, you can see the beams are smaller here, and he felt he had too much of what he didn't want. He didn't want all the practical tasks. He realized through coaching that he needed to be honest with himself and choose a vocation that was truer to who he was as a person and what was important to him. This meant working directly with people to be a helper, not tools such as monkey wrench and pliers. He also wanted to use his practical skills to help people in some way or another. He was curious about working in a prison and helping inmates reach a new potential through practical work and guidance.
So this is Eirik's preference profile. He scored on the 4 letters ESFP. And the motto for this type, there's 16 different types, and the motto for this is all for one. And his score on the preference profile supported his choice to secure a new career. By, for example, working in a prison, he could reach his new potential that was already lying there. And this profile, ESFP, signifies the following generic strengths. An ESFP person, they are aware of the required actions needed. They have a realistic approach to challenges and problems. They're usually very socially aware of other people's needs and desires. They're good at mediating and solving tense situations. They are good at negotiations. They can handle crisis management and troubleshooting. They're known to be flexible and to have an ability to act on things as they come. So when we looked at these things together with him, we see that these strengths are crucial to working, for example, in a prison. And for Eirik to see these generic strengths so clear and available, I mean, these are not individual traits, they're generic for this type that he sorted under. This was a breakthrough for him that meant a lot personally and professionally. This was, after all, his own score before he even thought about working in a prison or what the categories meant when he filled them out. He had no clue before, and then suddenly everything became so much clearer.
In the VIP, I just would like to say that you can do this, you can take this part of the questionnaire yourself. You just Google personality tests on the internet, and this will come up. It's called the JTI, the Jungian Type Indicator Test. So try it out. In the VIP 24 cycle that we see here, you can see that Eirik scored quite low on the overall health factor. You see only 58%, even though he was a healthy young man. He didn't have any apparent diseases or diagnosis. The 5 categories that you see circled here show some of the important factors he reflected upon, where there was a gap between his current situation and his desired value, where he wanted to be. You can see here, the dot and the beam are on different places. When we look at challenges, in his current job as an electrician, he felt that the challenges were too high, too much. This made him lose his self-confidence, and he developed anxiety. When we look at cooperation, he was in need of more cooperation than the job environment as an electrician could give him, because he went alone out to fix people's electric systems. He needed to cooperate and feel as a part of a group. You can also see this in the big gap in the affinity factor. He needed also to belong.
And if you look at the factor public benefit, he didn't feel that the job as an electrician gave enough of this important factor to feel a sense of giving back to society. And the job became meaningless to him. And if you remember Antonovsky, one of the 3 factors, meaningfulness, is at the core. So this was very important to him. And lastly, the control factor, it was very low. He felt low in control of his life and in his job due to this lack of meaning and low ability to handle the challenges. So these are just 5 examples of what we coached him on. We also discussed what he could do differently and what he could himself influence to change the gaps that were experienced as too high and made him feel sick and low on energy. Because it's important not just be talking. We needed to coach him on what will you actually do with this to close the gap so that your health feels better and that you're in a job that you can handle and that's felt with high meaning. So afterwards, when he was on the right path towards a job, he took the test again, and this shows his new job satisfaction after he made this choice to work in a prison. So the choice, it became a good match according to his values, interests and preferences. His feeling of work satisfaction rose and the overall health improved. So the overall effect of the guidance using a tool such as this is that we want to enable students to choose the right vocations for themselves, the aspect of empowerment, that they themselves take a lead of their lives and move forward.
The VIP program is continually developing new and improved methods and tools to achieve the aim of lifelong learning and job match. One of the latest tools is something we call PIP, a picture version of the interest profile for people who have language barriers or other challenges that prevent them from using the standard VIP program, for example, dyslexia.
Another new tool we call TMAP, where we use the interest profile and preference profile in a team setting in order to be aware of our strengths and potential weaknesses, to build a stronger team and explore the potential in our differences, rather than what normally happens when it creates irritation and distance within the group. The tool is structured as a game where the players reflect and discuss each other's differences in a safe setting. Yes.
Then it's just left to say thank you for having us here at this conference.
Thank you
for listening.